Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again with another video on The Flash Season 8. So either yesterday or the day before that, one of the two, we did a video on the news around Eddie Thawne being back for more than just one flashback episode in Season 8, and that he would be back for multiple episodes, and it seemed, and even going off the description given by Eric Wallace, who of course is the the showrunner for The Flash, that he would be alive once again in some way, shape or form. Now, in that video, we briefly mentioned Ronnie Raymond, who we know is back for 2 episodes, at the very least, later this season on The Flash as well, but we don't know specifically, how or why that is, sort of similar to the Eddie situation as well. But of course, The Flash is still filming. They have about, I think it's 2 months roughly, left of filming to go, and due to them filming, we have some set photos. Now, these aren't that spoilery, that's why I'm doing a video on them, and they sort of, apply to stuff that's already out there, like the Ronnie Raymond returning news and stuff like that. But of course, if you don't want to continue, you don't want to see them, that's fair enough, and that's up to you. Now, also in this video, just after the Ronnie Raymond stuff, we'll be going over a pretty surprising casting for Legends of Tomorrow, which could also be a surprising and unexpected character as well, who is also a character that many have wanted to show up for a while, not just on Legends, but the Arrowverse as a whole. So yeah, we got a good amount to talk about. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your general thoughts and everything in the comment section down below. Any theories in regards to the Ronnie stuff as well, and any other ideas in regards to this casting. If you have any other, any other ideas, let me know all that stuff in the comment section down below. Always curious to read it. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, you want to show your support, and you're excited by any of this, why not drop a like on the video to do all that? So let's start off with these set photos that apply to some stuff that's already out there. And as it's usually the case, like 80% of the time, these are coming from Canadagraphs. So the link in the description to his blog is there with the rest of these photos if you want to go check them out. But we do go over like the main ones in this video. So yeah, just to make it pretty much clear, we had this guy in this grey suit, just a bit of a onesie. Now, obviously, many people went to this. It does look like the thing that Ralph Dibny wore in that first episode when he went out as an elongated man. And I think even later in that episode, or was it the next episode, he gets his proper suit, like the really cool elongated man suit. So he only wore this grey one for like half an episode, 1 episode or something like that. However, it doesn't entirely look like it. It's just the same like color, really. Like the suit as a whole looks different in design and material to what Ralph wore. Ralph just wore like a prototype of the expanding material, while this looks like a different type of suit. It's just sort of the same color. I understand why people jumped to it. It was in my head as well, but I don't think it's the same thing. But the thing that caught my eye, which I didn't see a lot of people talking about straight away, I did post it on Twitter when it came out. These photos are about a week old almost, but I'm just getting around to doing this video now. But he seems to be wearing a quantum splicer on his chest. Not the Firestorm Matrix. Saw people saying that. The Firestorm Matrix is actually like the energy, if you want to call it. The quantum splicer sort of contains the Firestorm Matrix. So it looks like a quantum splicer on his chest, just without those sort of straps that go over the other side of the chest, if you know what I mean. And of course, the quantum splicer was what allowed the two halves of Firestorm, initially Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein, to separate from each other initially, but also merge back into being Firestorm and being able to, it just controlled it. Now, of course, we were led to believe that the original version of the quantum splicer that Ronnie and Martin Stein wore was destroyed when Ronnie presumably died in the Singularity incident. But they, of course, did make another version of it for Jefferson Jackson in season 2 of The Flash when he went on to become Firestorm with Martin Stein, and then they went over to Legends of Tomorrow. Now, as I said, we know Ronnie is back for 2 episodes, at least 2 episodes, starting in episode 11. That's his first one. And based off his time on set, he also filmed episode 12 as well, though he could have been prepping for episode 15, but it seems like he actually filmed for episode 12. And this is what makes things interesting, because these set photos are from episode 11, they're not from episode 12, they're not from episode 14, they're actually from episode 13, and this is based off just general timing, but also what Danielle Panabaker, who plays Caitlin and Frost, said on Instagram. And that was a few days after these were taken. She said that they just started filming episode 14 on that day. So these are definitely from episode 13 and towards the end of that film, towards the end of the filming for that episode. But what goes on in these photos is that Frost, with a new like brunette hairdo, sort of like Caitlin's hair, but it looks like, yeah, it's an interesting hairdo, something completely new that we haven't seen before. So I'm not sure if it's Frost and Caitlin that are now one again, or Frost just as a person has a different hairdo. Not exactly sure what's going on here. Of course, that's for the show to tell us when it comes back in around a month's time from now. But let's just say this is Frost. She goes up to this person in the grey suit and takes what appears to be the quantum splicer off his chest, and then the grey suited dude sort of like goes and does like a very drawn out scene of him being in pain and suffering or something along those lines, and then collapse into the ground. You could argue that he's dead. You could argue that the quantum splicer was just sort of powering him up, something like that. But this just leads into the question, like, is Ronnie reborn? Like, reborn, reborn, that's the word. So it's like Ronnie reborn based off the events of this season, very similar to the ways in which Eddie Thawne is coming back. We have two characters that we're led to believe were dead. Ronnie's was, killed in that, or quote unquote killed in that singularity incident. We didn't get a body, while Eddie Thawne was shot, presumably passed away completely, and then was sucked into the singularity. We didn't actually have their bodies full term, so someone could be playing around with them and bringing them back to life. Who knows what's going on exactly? But it can't really be a coincidence that two people that disappeared in the same, their bodies went away in that same scenario or that same incident, are now coming back in the same season around the same time. But maybe Ronnie comes back with like a damaged quantum splicer, and that's maybe why it looks like it, but doesn't look exactly the same with all the straps and stuff. Maybe it's completely connected to him in some way or something like that. But he is still able to be Firestorm. Then you might ask, well, what's going on with the grey suit? And I'm wondering that as well. But maybe it could be like a protective suit to allow him to heal if that's needed. I mean, just the fact that Caitlin and/or Frost is the one to be dealing with him here, even though Grant Gustin was on set as well as the Flash, makes you think it has to be Ronnie, or they believe it's Ronnie, especially considering that Robbie Amell was back to play Ronnie just before this episode filmed, around this portion of the season. So I'm very curious to see what happens. Now, we're going to have to wait a bit once we come back to, I guess, get any hints as to where this could be going. But I'm very curious to see who the villain is. And that's the thing that is sort of in the back of my head, is that we don't know who the villain or villains are yet for this back half, which would usually be a good thing. It makes it a surprise with most things. But with the Flash specifically, the times that we haven't known who the villains are heading into a storyline or a portion of a season, they haven't been done overly well, or at least they haven't been overly well received. Just to name a few. Force storyline. We didn't know they were the villains heading into it. It wasn't announced in a press release or anything like that, which they had done with a lot of other villains before. So Force storyline. Mirror Master. Sure, the casting came out, but we didn't know that they were doing any sort of villain arc with that character. Cicada 2.0. We didn't know that character was coming in. They were the threat at the back half of that season. So it might just be because we as the audience aren't prepared, and people think that someone else is showing up, and we go down these crazy theory routes or whatever it might be. Who knows why that all lines up, but maybe they should reveal that before the episodes air to maybe not continue that hot streak. But I don't know. I'm trying to think who this could potentially be. Like, if I'm thinking like magic, which could maybe bring someone back to life, the character I think of is Brother Grimm, which I've mentioned before. He's probably one of the three villains I would use, or that the show can still use outside of Reverse Flash, which I think could be big bad material for a season. The other two being Red Death and Cobalt Blue. But I don't know who else could be doing this if it isn't maybe like Brother Grimm, because he is magic based, and bringing people back to life sort of fits into that, that genre. But yeah, I'm sure we'll find out soon. That's just a wait and find out. But yeah, it's definitely got my curiosity levels peaked. But yeah, to finish off the video, as I said, we do have this interesting casting for Legends of Tomorrow, specifically for its Season 7 finale. So Donald Faison, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, was cast for the Legends finale. And one of the producers teased that they actually snagged something big for the finale for the season, and fans wouldn't believe their eyes when they see it. So we got Turk on the Wave Rider. Is JD going to be joining him? I mean, Wells is his brother. Like, that could be the case. Obviously, you're going to have no idea what I'm talking about if you haven't watched Scrubs. And speaking of Scrubs, also the actress who played Carla, who was Turk's wife or partner, was on Batwoman recently, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I know Scrubs in the Arrowverse. I don't know. But here is the Entertainment Weekly article on this with the very interesting character description and just some words on his casting. EW can exclusively reveal that the Scrubs and Clueless actor will appear in the season 7 finale of DC's Legends of Tomorrow as an unnamed mystery character seeking fame, fortune, and glory. While the character's name is being kept under wraps for now, the producers hope this won't be a one-off cameo and that Firestorm will return if the CW greenlights an 8th season. And just quickly on that 8th season, apparently the crew that work on the show in Vancouver were told it was coming back for season 8 and said, yeah, you got jobs next season. But the showrunner won't confirm it. He says he hasn't heard anything back. So that whole Legends thing is a bit of a confusing one. But anyway. But here is the description for this character, which definitely highlights who it might be. The Legends first encounter this character at a different phase of his career, whose golden years are in the rearview mirror. He is a good guy deep down. His ego is looking for a boost that only fame, fortune, and glory can provide. While he claims to have been recruited to work for a mysterious time organization, he wasn't offered much of a choice in the matter. As an unauthorized time traveler with high-profile aspirations, he developed a mischievous streak and cuts a few corners along the way to achieving his dreams. He knows all about the Legends of Tomorrow and finds them inspiring because they are the kinds of heroes who started at the ground floor as opposed to inheriting their powers from an alien planet, a spider bite, or wealthy parents. But the big question is whether his respect for the team is going to be able to help the Legends out of hot water or get them into hotter water. So I mean, come on. Going off this, and this is pretty much what everyone thinks when they read this, Booster Gold. I mean, it has to be based off that description. I mean, Donald Faison is an interesting casting choice for Booster Gold looks-wise. Like, you look at him and wouldn't think Booster Gold, but he would definitely be able to act like him. When I think of the actor, I think, yeah, he'd definitely be able to play those sort of the attributes and details of Booster Gold down to a T, I'm pretty sure. It has to be. Like, I don't know who it is, and why would you keep it a mystery? And we'll get to an example in the past of Legends doing this as well, just in a bit. But you might be wondering, why would DC let Legends use Booster Gold, which hasn't been the most like comic book accurate show in recent seasons, or just a comic book show really. It's more just like a Doctor Who if it was on, like, I don't know, some sort of weird illicit drug. Well, DC probably aren't planning on using Booster Gold in live action for at least a few more years, at least while Legends is there, or while Legends would want to use the character. And Booster has been a character many thought would eventually appear on the show because of the fact that Rip Hunter was on it, who is the son of Booster Gold. So maybe it's like better late than never, and maybe just they asked and DC had no plans for him, so they let them use him. I think that makes sense. I mean, they did let Legends use Constantine for a few years and do some weird stuff with him. That's just come to an end now. So maybe like Booster Gold fits Legends much more than Constantine did. And the example of them doing something very similar to this is actually going all the way back to season 1. In the season 1 finale, they cast Patrick J. Adams as a surprise character. You can probably see the article, a picture of the article on screen right now. They didn't name who he was. He was just they just cast him and said, yeah, he's in the finale. And when he showed up in the finale, he was Hourman. I can't remember if it was Rick Tyler or Rex Tyler. I think he was Rex. Or was he Rick? He was Rick or Rex. I'm not too sure which one he was. But he was Hourman. And then he was in the season 1, like the early parts of season 2, sorry. So they've done something like this in the past. So the fact that they're not going out of their way to name him right now and keep it a surprise makes you think it has to be someone from the comics that people will be excited about seeing. Now, what happens going forward if there is a season 8, which most likely will be the case because they told people there would be, and where Booster Gold would fit into it if it is Booster Gold, that's up for debate and where it could go. I've missed Legends when it was sort of like comic booky and used comic book villains. I've sort of pushed, not been pushed away completely. I just usually binge it when I can later on, but I would love if it just tapped more into that DC universe more, because it has gone away from it. So maybe Booster Gold coming in, even just for like a recurring role next season, could drag me back in to watch week to week. But yeah, guys, that's all to go over. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show your support, especially if you found any of this exciting and anything like that. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the whole set photos thing from The Flash and where you think they could be going, and any theories you have there, as well as this Legend of Tomorrow news. Will you come back and watch the show consistently if Booster's on there, or are you at least going to watch the finale for Legends to see who who Donald Faison is playing? Let me know all your thoughts down there in the comments, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.